down, and we pick right up with Bellator 295 on Saturday. Raufeon Stots versus Patchy Mix. Before we do a deep dive on the main card of this event, any fights you want to, or fighters you want to quickly just touch on before we go in there?
Yeah, this one is deeper. Definitely an undercard worth watching on this one. Bobby King's on the card, who's been solid in Bellator. He's fighting Alon Cruz. Keone Diggs and Weber Almeida should be a scrap. Sumiko Unaba, who people kind of like, she's up and coming in Bellator. She'll get a shot against Veda Ardiega. And then you get a couple of the Hawaiian boys, Kai Kamaka and Yancy Medeiros, both on this card, fighting Adley Edwards and Charlie Leary, respectively. So it'll be fun to see if they can get some wins in Hawaii. And then Mads Burnell on the undercard, too, who I get it. He's lost a couple in a row, but he had been looking very good. So definitely an undercard with some names worth checking out.
Very nice. I had no idea. I totally forgot Yancy Medeiros was on this card. That's fantastic. I wonder how he's doing. I wonder how that fight style is looking, because I was a big Yancy Medeiros fan. That dude is a good time.
I think he's only one fight in Bellator, but I believe he won it. Let's confirm that. Yes, he fought once and he won. He beat Emmanuel Sanchez, which is pretty solid. Granted, he's a lot bigger than Emmanuel Sanchez. I think Sanchez came up for the sake of that fight, but still.
Still a good name.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump right into it. First on our main card here, Ray Borg versus Kyoji Horiguchi. Ray, the Mexican Devil Borg, born in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with a record of 16 wins and 5 losses, 29 years old, 1 KO, 6 submissions, 9 decisions. His most recent stint in MMA was in EFC, Eagle FC, the promotion run and owned by Khabib Nurmagomedov. 2 decisions, very last one against Ricky Bandejas was a split decision. Ray Borg, kind of infamous for the issues with making the fight, making weight, and all this other kind of stuff. Has shown some inconsistencies in the past. I believe in EFC he was pretty consistent, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember there being a lot of hullabaloo when it came to his shit in EFC. But he is fighting Kyoji Horiguchi, which good luck with that. Kyoji Horiguchi, 32 years old, 31 wins, 5 losses, 15 wins by KO, 4 by submission, another 12 by decision. Kyoji Horiguchi with a resume that I can't properly explain to you. Has fought some of the best in the UFC, has fought Demetrius Johnson in a very hard-fought fight. Will go down as the fight with the... I don't even know how to explain it. It was 4 minutes and 59 seconds of the very last round where DJ was able to submit him via armbar. So like the longest, what is, I don't even know how to explain what the record is.
The latest finish in a title fight.
Yes. And has fought a variety of people since then. Fought for Ryzen, Bellator. So Kyoji Horiguchi, no stranger to the game. An athlete, if nothing else, but he's a fantastic fighter as well. I think Ray Borg is about to get fucked up here. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Ray Borg, I think the thing that makes Ray Borg successful in the fights that he takes is his wrestling. And I think it will do dick all against Kyoji Horiguchi. Kyoji Horiguchi's hips are fighters in and of themselves. Those things are not ones you can keep down and hold down without an extreme amount of effort or an extreme amount of technique. Both of which I think Ray Borg will be lacking compared to Kyoji Horiguchi. The power, I think, is going to be on Kyoji Horiguchi's side. And the speed, I think, will be stupidly outplaced compared to what Ray Borg is going to bring to the table. I think it's going to be a complete night and day difference when it comes to the speed specifically. I think Kyoji eats here, man. I think Ray Borg is tough, but I don't see this man going 3 rounds and just eating shot after shot after shot without wilting. So I'm going to go with the late stoppage here, but a stoppage nonetheless. Round 3 TKO, Kyoji Horiguchi.
Okay, so Kyoji's the favorite. He's minus 250. Ray Borg is plus 190. This is a noteworthy fight because it is a flyweight fight happening in Bellator. So we will see what the plans end up being here. Obviously, flyweight is not a division that Bellator has had to this point. You wonder if they're trying to set something up, try to let Horiguchi get some shine. There are certainly some flyweights out there in the world that they could look to sign if they do want to actually build a division here. But it's good to see Horiguchi down at flyweight. And in looking at his resume that Omar was going through, I could be mistaken because there's maybe a guy on here that has fought at some different weights, but I think in all of Kyoji's fights, which is 36 fights, and he has 5 losses, I think only one of those losses has been at flyweight, which is Demetrius Johnson. I think the other 4 are all in fights at bantamweight, where he was always undersized. So that is worth noting and illustrates how good of a flyweight this man is, which is absolutely his natural weight class. So he is going to be 1 inch taller than Borg and have a 2-inch reach advantage. Ray Borg is good. I know he's had his ups and his downs. He certainly, as you said, had his weight issues at 125, so let's hope that he makes it. And yes, we did see Kyoji get controlled in his last Bellator fight by Patchy Mix. But again, Patchy Mix is a huge bantamweight. We are down at flyweight here, and I don't think Borg can do the same type of things. It's a much more size-friendly matchup for Kyoji. He will be faster. He's more powerful. And I think, as you said, he's too good for Ray Borg to control. The hips, everything that you already went into. I think that he will add up damage on Borg as this fight goes on. Torn between if I want to say decision or kind of a late stoppage. I guess I'll be different since you said late stoppage already, so I will say it's a decision win for Kyoji Horiguchi.
Thought you were going to go round 1 KO. Thought you were going to get crazy.
Nah.
All right. Next on the list here, Aaron Pico versus James Gonzalez. Aaron Pico, the phenom here that everybody's hoping something will come of. 10 wins, 4 losses, 26 years old. It's got 7 wins by KO, 2 by submission, and 1 by decision. Recently lost his last fight. That was due to a shoulder injury. I'm pretty sure he threw a punch and out his shoulder went. They tried to pop it back in, did not work, so they called the fight. Up until that point, the man was on a 6-fight win streak within Bellator. Really seemed to have been finding his groove, was knocking people out, choking people out, really having a lot of success inside of that cage. He will be fighting James Gonzalez, the Alley Cat. 10 wins, 5 losses, 3 by KO, 2 by submission, and 5 more by decision. James Gonzalez is 33 years old and coming off of 2 wins. His last one in the PFL against Vikas Singh Ruhil. It's great. Did I go first in the last one? Why don't you go first?
Yeah,
go ahead and take this one, Pico and James Gonzalez. What are the odds here?
So it's expectedly wide. Aaron Pico's minus 750. James Gonzalez is plus 500. Gonzalez did look good in his one Bellator fight. He came in and beat up Cody Law, who's a guy that Bellator was kind of high on. That said, I don't know that I understand why he is fighting Aaron Pico here. I get it that Pico was hurt and maybe you want to ease him back in and try to let him get right back into the mix, but kind of feels like an unnecessary risk and that it might have made more sense to go with someone a little more established in this spot and just trust that Pico could handle it. But on that note, I do think this should be all Aaron Pico. I think that he will probably get Gonzalez out of there in exciting fashion. So I'll say he gets busy with the hands, puts it on Gonzalez, and puts him down for good in round 2. Aaron Pico, round 2 knockout.
Nice. Yeah, dude, I trust Aaron Pico's hands a little too much here to go against him. James Gonzalez just doesn't have the strength of the resume to really have me thinking that he's going to do something here to Aaron Pico or present a real problem to Aaron Pico. On paper, Aaron Pico should have no problem here. I'm going to go with round 1 KO.
Nice.
Okay. All right, on to our women's fight here. Ilima-Lei Macfarlane, the Eliminator. Oh, I see what she did there. Fighting Kana Watanabe from Tokyo, Japan. Ilima-Lei Macfarlane from San Diego, California. 12 wins, 2 losses, 2 by KO, 6 by submission, and 4 more by decision. She is 33 years old. Her most recent fight is a win off of Bruna Ellen?
Yep.
Bruna Ellen. That was at UFC or Bellator 284. Kana Watanabe stands with 11 wins and 1 loss, 1 draw as well, 3 wins by KO, 4 wins by submission, and 4 by decision. She's 34 years old, so close in age there. Has a pretty strong record as far as wins are concerned, with 1 loss to Liz Carmouche, but her most recent win was to Denise Kielholtz, and that was at Bellator 281, winning by triangle choke. I will go first here. I think the fight is very interesting. I've never been super high on Ilima-Lei Macfarlane. I know she's a great personality, and she seems like a fun addition to the roster. But like when it comes to the fight itself, I've never been super sold on her. I think Watanabe, is a bit more skilled overall, if we're being honest. She doesn't have the strength of resume, as far as I'm concerned, to really be that definitive of it. But watching her fight, I do think that she has the skills to be able to take this on. So I'm going to go with Watanabe here by TKO, and I'm going to do it round 3.
All right, so pretty tight odds. Watanabe is favored. She's minus 140. Ilima-Lei Macfarlane is plus 115.
Wow.
And yeah, I think she's been a bit hard to trust lately. She seems very hot and cold suddenly. A couple lackluster performances, specifically the one against Justine Kish. Obviously, she's the former champ in Bellator before she dropped the belt to Juliana Velasquez. She does get the hometown matchup in Hawaii. It's always fun watching her fight in Hawaii with her entrances and all that. So, I'm sure she'd love to get the W here, but she's also already talking about kind of having one foot out the door, saying maybe she's going to do a couple more fights. I don't love the vibes from her lately. And then on top of that, I think this is a tough matchup because I think Kana Watanabe is very good. I think she kind of got caught by Liz Carmouche, and maybe we didn't get to see the whole story the first time they fought. I think that she's probably the best flyweight in Bellator, aside from Liz Carmouche. Wow. Well, I mean, if Watanabe wins here, maybe you'd love to see her and Juliana Velasquez actually settle that as to who's the second best. But I like Kana Watanabe. I think she's good, and I think that she can ground Ilima-Lei and kind of control her and do work there. It's another one where I could see a finish come, but I think I'll say decision for Kana Watanabe.
Nice. All right, we have made the main event of this Bellator 295 card, Raufeon Super Stots versus Patchy Mix. Stots fighting out of Houston, Texas with 19 wins and 1 loss, 4 wins by KO, 4 wins by decision, and 11 more by decision. He is 34 years old with recent wins over Danny Sabatello and Juan Archuleta, and even one against Magomed Magomedov, which you don't see very often. Patchy Mix, fighting out of Angola, New York, 17 wins, 1 loss, 1 by KO, 12 by submission, and only 4 by decision in those 17 wins. 29 years old, and recently took Raufeon Stots' decision win over Magomed Magomedov and saw it, raised it, and finished Magomed Magomedov with a technical submission guillotine choke of round 2 in that fight recently, and then Kyoji Horiguchi before that, winning by unanimous decision, as we alluded to earlier. Mark, why don't you go first? Give us the odds and your pick.
What a good fucking fight, and I don't know what to do with myself. The odds barely know what to do with themselves either. Raufeon Stots is a slight favorite. He's minus 130. Patchy Mix is plus 110. So it is very tight. It's 4 inches of height for Mix, but a 1-inch reach advantage for Stots. So despite the fact that Mix is going to be much taller, he does not have the reach. Granted, his legs could be in play. Man, I'm all over the place. Pre-tournament, you may remember I picked Raufeon Stots. Um, that was before Sergio dropped out. I think I had said maybe I could see Sergio get through, but that my other selection was Raufeon Stots. Maybe I even took him. I can't remember. I might have just taken him outright. But my point is, I've been high on Raufeon Stots for a while here. He's been one of my guys. During the tournament, my eyes have been opened to how good Patchy Mix is. Like, he has looked incredible. I get it. He had a big size advantage on Horiguchi in the first fight, but he fucking dominated Kyoji Horiguchi. And then the second fight, he handled Magomedov, which I was not expecting to see. I thought maybe he could beat him, but not handle him the way that he handled him. So coming off of that fight, I started to be like, shit, I think I'm ready to go all in on Patchy Mix. And now this fight's here, and I'm like, I really like Raufeon Stots. Like, I'm all over the place. They're both so good. They've both looked good in this tournament. I guess Stots didn't exactly look thrilling against Danny Sabatello in his last fight, but it was a really tricky matchup, and he navigated it, got it done. I don't know. It's very hard. Patchy Mix has lost one time in his life, which was to Juan Archuleta back in 2020. He has notably improved his game since that time, especially on the feet. He's so much more comfortable. Raufeon Stots has also only lost one time, which is to Merab, as we always mention. He beat Juan Archuleta to start this tournament, which is the guy who has a win over Mix, as I just said. I really think they're both super high level. I think they both do well in the UFC as bantamweights. No result would really surprise me here. It's possible that Mix has really reached a point where he is just not deterrable. Like, that's honestly the vibes this man is giving off. But I think I am just finding myself not being able to look past the wrestling and scramble ability of Raufeon Stots until I see someone overcome it. So I think I'm just going to lean that Stots can escape enough and stuff at times and scramble at times and do what he needs to do to not get out grappled, and that on the feet he can edge things and does carry the bigger power there. So I could see it be another close decision like his last one was, but I'm going to go with Raufeon Stots to win a UD and win this tournament. It's very, very hard to make your game work against Raufeon Stots. He's a difficult defensive puzzle, and I will say that's the difference.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think the thing that gives me pause about picking Raufeon Stots is the fact that Mix seems to have again kind of seems to have found his groove, right? He seems to have found kind of how his game really works and what the most efficient way to use his game. And his top pressure is fucking dumb. Like his ability once he gets on the ground, if he gets you on the ground, he's one of those guys where I would probably say, I don't care how good your hips are. Patchy Mix is probably going to keep you on the ground. And Raufeon Stots is known for being scrambly, known for being the guy that doesn't really accept being taken down or being kept on the ground. I just think that if Patchy Mix gets him down there, I don't think it'll matter, man. I think he's so strong down there. And you combine that with the technique he seems to have in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world, where he's not wrestling, right? Like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, that sometimes their approach to the ground game is very different than a wrestler's approach to the ground game. And a lot of times in Jiu-Jitsu, a lot of it is just sticking close, white on rice, keeping your hips tucked in, everything kind of that center of gravity you want it as low and as close as humanly possible, so that all that weight is in one area and not spread out and easy to maneuver and reverse and so on and so forth. And I think Patricky can do that without thinking. I think a lot of those skills are probably
Not
second
Patricky.
nature to him.
He's not Brazilian, just Patrick.
Is it just Patrick?
Yeah, Patchy is maybe what's in your brain.
Patchy, yes. Yes, that is what it is. But yeah, man, I think he takes this one. I do think that he's very, very good. I'm gonna go out on a limb here. Raufeon Stots has never been stopped in his career, but I think he's gonna get stopped here. I think Mix takes a submission here late in the fight, round 3.
Wow. Wow. Well, he's been stopped, but not subbed. Merab
Has he
knocked
been
him
knocked out?
Merab, the one loss. Merab knocked him out.
Oh, I thought it was. I saw a decision here. It was. You're right. It is a knockout. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I love it. I love that we're on opposite sides because I feel like the fight deserves us being on opposite sides. It's a great fight.
Yeah.
And one of us will look
absolutely
smart next week.
great.
And it's
All
dope
right,
too
man.
because it's like there's so much happening at bantamweight. You have this fight to get the tournament winner here, who will be the interim champ because Stots currently holds that interim belt, and then you have Sergio Pettis returning, fighting fucking Pitbull, and then the winners of these two things, I guess, are going to match up against each other. So it's almost like the tournament continues.
Bro, imagine like the world we live in now is now Sergio Pettis fighting Pitbull
Yeah.
for a belt.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. It's crazy.
it's come so far. It's so crazy.
Yep.